Hey there, folks. Thanks for tuning into the Crash Bang Boom podcast. I'm your host, Jody Smith. Today, my guest is drummer, guitarist, producer, and brewer Mark Gajadhar. Mark, who has lived one of the more coincidental lives you could imagine, played guitar and drums in the Blood Brothers, as well as Neon Blonde, Past Lives, and his hip-hop electronic pursuits in Champagne, and more recently, African Tiger. We talk about everything from the origins of the Blood Brothers to Seattle back in the day, finding success at a young age, filling in for Gabe Serbian in Head Wound City, energy vortexes, blow-up dolls, and the giant family tree that extends out from his many bands. So let's get to it. Crash, bang, boom! All right, so I'm here with Mark Gajadhar. I even pronounced that right as far as I can tell. And of the Blood Brothers, Neon Blonde, Past Lives, Champagne, all sorts of shit, man.
That gets into hip-hop, and then, Past Lives. Currently, Head Wound City for a handful of shows.
How was it learning Gabe Serbian's parts for this?
Absolutely intense.
I bet it fucking was.
Yeah, just if you watch a video footage of that guy play, the dude's a fucking beast.
It's insanity.
He'll play and then puke and then keep playing. Like, it's just like a fucking machine. Yeah. And I think my Leo pride took in, and I was just like, I can do it.
Yeah.
And then tried doing it.
So what did they just gave you a call and asked you to just sit in on for a couple of shows in New York?
So basically, I think Gabe couldn't do a handful of shows, and it wasn't the New York shows. It was actually there was a handful of Seattle shows and LA shows that needed to happen. And so Jordan called up and was like, "Hey, would you be interested?" And I was doing nothing. I was living on Orcas Island, just kind of kicking it.
Orcas Island, to give people a perspective, there's Seattle and then there's Orcas Island. And so where's Orcas Island in relation?
3 hours north of Seattle, 2 hours north of Seattle. Take a ferry.
You literally live on an island.
I live on an island, small community, 3,000 in the winter, and maybe goes to 12,000 in the summer. Mainly really rich people that have vacation homes, and it's just a weird zone, but a great place to make music and write. And in the wintertime when there's nobody around, just kind of hang out and do your thing. So I haven't been doing anything for a while, and Jordan called up. It was post Blood Brothers doing some shows, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to do these 5 shows?" Is what they laid out. I was like, "Totally, it sounds great. I have nothing scheduled. Let's figure it out." He sent me the set list and the songs on Spotify or something like that, and they seemed reasonable when I heard them. But it's one thing hearing it and watching video footage of the guy that wrote it do it and make it look effortless, and then you sit behind your kit and you haven't played for 2 years, and then you're like, all right, I can do this, and then you're dropping sticks, not even being able to play your kick drum that fast. It was weird. It messed with my whole drum ego. I was like, I can't play at all. And so I went through the songs. I had 25 songs to learn in a 20-day period. And the first couple days I just listened to it, and I'm like, I got this. And finally went in after 4 days of listening to it on the actual drum set. Tried playing the first couple songs, could not physically do it. Literally was just struggling, just trying to keep up with the tempos, dropping sticks, and basically I felt like I didn't know how to play drums. And
wow.
At that point, I called Jordan twice. So I called him the first time. I was like, "Dude, I can't do this." And he psyched me up. He's like, "Man, you got this, man. Just play it your own vibe, and do it how you would do it. Don't focus on what he does. You play single, he plays double kick."
Right.
And, so I was like, "All right, cool, I got this." So I went back in, tried it again, and before I went back in, Jordan's wife Zoe, who does a lot of the tour managing aspects of it behind the scenes, she just confirmed my plane ticket. And so now it's really happening. All right, this is gonna really happen.
You're gonna do some Head Wound City shows. Exactly. It's on. No backing out now.
Exactly. And so I go back into the studio and I start playing the songs. Cannot fucking do it.
Really?
Cannot play it. So I look at the email and I see that Zoe's on her email. It has a 24-hour cancellation policy on the plane ticket, and I'm like, fuck. So I go in there, try playing it, can't do it. So I call Jordan, like, Jordan, you need to cancel this ticket and cancel the shows. Like, I cannot do this. And he's like, dude, the ticket's already booked. What you're gonna do is you're gonna come down here and you're gonna play with us for a week. We had a week of rehearsal, like, set aside. And he was like, we'll figure it out during that week. And, like, I knew in Jordan's mind that there was basically no way I was going to back out of this. Like, he was basically like, you're going to come down that week and you're going to figure out how to fucking play these songs. And if you can't play it, we're going to fucking beat you up. Yeah. And I was like, oh, God. And also, I mean, on top of it, like, I've never played with Nick. I've met Nick a couple times. And, like, I've known Justin for years. But, like, I'm like, dude, this is, like, a weird super group of, like, you know, awesome band dudes. And, like, I don't want to be the guy that's, like, fucking up their show and their band. Like, one of the shows that was scheduled to play was Fuck Yeah Fest in LA, and like it was like, you know, with like Kendrick Lamar and like Grace Jones, and like, I mean, it was a festival show, so it's not like we're playing with them, but it was like a big show. And I was like, dude, I don't want to be the guy that messes up your band. Like, you know, that was like really what was in my mind. And so basically Jordan wouldn't let me cancel the ticket, and I just sat there and I played those songs every day for like 5 hours. I'd wake up at like 10. Wow. I would run the set from like 11 till 4 or something like that. And
your day job.
Pretty much. And then I would go to work at 5 and I would work till 10, and then I would wake up again and just repeat process for many days.
Holy shit.
Until where I finally felt comfortable with it. And then we flew down there and we ran it, you know, live a couple times. And, you know, it worked out. Unfortunately, I mean, it was great. So we were running it at Ross's house, who did some of the Blood Brothers records and the last Headwind City record. And he's like just the most in tune person about vibe and feeling, getting like the actual like overall just song to sound great. And so I'm sitting there playing the songs the way I can play them to fit their stuff. And he's sitting there like, oh, no. You got to play it exactly like this. And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, I physically cannot do that. And he's like, you can. You are a drummer. Like, he just kind of goes into this like motivational speaking, which he's amazing at. And like, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally can. I go in there, like, it's like on Scraper, I don't know if you're familiar, he does like a hi-hat thing.
Yeah. Oh no, Gabe's a fucking ninja, dude.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I was literally like throwing sticks across the room, like just like trying to hit the floor tom and hi-hat and like do this triplet thing. And like Ross is like, you gotta do that. And like we leave the room, and Jordan and like Nick and all of them be like, get Ross out of your head, just do it how you can do it. And I eventually figured out a way that I could figure out how to do it. I mean, I love Ross, and thank God he's there to push me, but I was able to get him out of my mind of like playing it exactly like Gabe
and just like do your thing
and like play it how I would play it, even though it's gonna be a little bit more punk and less metal. It's just, I mean, fuck, well, they asked me to play.
That band floats in the middle of that anyway. There's always, in fact, everything that I feel like from the Locust to Blood Brother, there's a continuum between all of those bands. It's punk rock.
Exactly.
So,
and it's just like, you know, playing hard, fast, and weird.
Exactly.
Like kind of like
that's
what we do. And like I mentioned earlier, it's like I don't listen to anything like that at all. I fucking love playing it.
Of course.
It's like the most gratifying thing to just like play crazy drums in weird off times, stop on a fucking dime, and then like back into it, and like everybody's like on the same page. Yeah, it's just really cool. And like trying to explain that to like people that don't even listen to that kind of music, that are like, oh,
it's
like
good luck.
Small island, like people are like, oh, so you play in a band? You're going to New York?
You might as well not even tell them you play in a band.
Yeah, they're like, where are you playing at? I'm like, I don't know. What kind of music? And I'm like, well, I'll show you. And they're like, that's not music. You can just throw drums down the stairs and it'll be
that's
the same
what that sounds like.
Yeah, and I'm like, you don't understand. Like, it's like very technical shit.
My default answer is generally I just say it's on the obnoxious spectrum. Oh, yeah. That's how I describe it. And then they're like, oh, and they don't ask any more questions. And if they do, then then the next one is like, I don't think you would like it.
And so the best is once you kind of like plant that seed, though, then they start trying to find bands that you might like, and they're like, "Hey, have you heard this band like Metallica?" And you're like, "Shut the fuck up! Like, are you serious?"
Do you know how many subgenres you have to go to get to the bizarre esoteric shit that I do beyond
exactly? You know, you're just kind of like, yeah, it's like that is, I guess, the base that I can give you. It's like Metallica.
Right.
Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
There are distorted guitars, so yes.
And really crazy screaming.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, I powered through those ones, and we played it was actually one Seattle show that was scheduled, Capitol Hill Block Party. And then they asked us to play another show directly after that show at the Cha Cha basement, which was phenomenal. I mean,
cool.
The block party was cool. It was outdoors, but, outdoor setting, high stage, people kind of scattered. So, you have that, like, intimacy that, you want for, like, a thrash punk band. But downstairs Cha Cha, man, out of control. It was, like, 200 people packed into a 100 capacity spot. And, people like crowd surfing, flying everywhere.
Awesome.
Amps were barely mic'd. It was just like a wall of noise and us just having a great time. That really felt great. And that was the last show I played with them. Gabe ended up doing FYF, which, they're like, hey, Gabe wants to do, last couple shows. And I was like, totally makes sense. He's your drummer.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Like,
so you played at Head Wound City, that show that you were talking about, and then Gabe came back in for a minute.
Exactly. So, like,
okay.
I never asked what the whole situation was, and I still don't really know what the whole scene is, but, like, Gabe either had prior engagements or couldn't just do the shows or the money wasn't right. I have no idea.
Sure.
And I had nothing going on, and I'm like, whatever, I'll play for fucking free. This sounds great. I was just like, I mean, I guess Jordan and Cody just know me, and they're just like, he's an easygoing guy and really doesn't fucking care. So I jumped on it, and so half the scheduled shows that I was gonna do, Gabe ended up doing the LA portions of it.
Okay, because he's in California anyway.
He's in California. I wanted to fly out,
right.
And like they were great shows. I don't know why he wouldn't want to do them if he was in that area. And then came these string of shows, which is tonight and tomorrow. Tonight and tomorrow
being tonight at St. Vitus in Brooklyn and tomorrow at the Cake Shop in the East Village, New York City.
New York. Get a rope.
Yeah, right. Cool. So tonight's the first night of this run, and then you got tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So I'm anxious to hear it. I tell you what, I heard y'all on your sound check, and y'all were playing a Ministry song.
So
just one fix.
The 3 songs that we played at sound check, those were the 3 songs that I had to learn new prior to what I played before.
Right.
And
sounded badass.
Thank you, because I am completely just winging that Ministry song.
By the way, did you ever see them Ministry live by any chance?
I've never seen Ministry live, but I was a big fan of that particular record.
Dude, I saw them live at the Lollapalooza in New Orleans for
94?
Yeah, dude.
My Life with the Thrill to Kill Cult, I believe, was on that, and possibly Helmet.
Yeah, it was fucking amazing, man. Ministry was just...
I had that poster.
Absolutely unbelievable. And that's a fucking great song.
But that song heavily relies on double kick as well.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. Right.
Yeah, so that was one of the songs where so I focused really on their songs. I'm trying to figure out how to play them. And I just listened to the Ministry song a bunch of times, but didn't physically play it.
Yeah. That's how I generally do shit.
And we got to practice last night.
Where did y'all practice last night?
TV on the Radio lives in town.
That's right.
Jordan's wife used to work with them, tour manage,
and
do a bunch of other stuff for them. And they were awesome and let us borrow their space, which is great.
Super
got
cool.
To play on their drum set and stuff, and hang out in their studio and dork out on all of their keyboards.
Awesome.
Such a great setup.
Super cool, man.
So they were in the middle of recording, and mics were placed on the drum set. And the one thing Jaleel said was just try not to move any of the mics. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. So I had a floor tom that's super low, a tom that's angled a different way. Drummers are very
right, of course.
And, a
especially playing this shit, you got to get to shit quickly.
Exactly.
It's ergonomically.
Cymbal, over here, where my cymbal's right in front of me. His ride cymbal was on a stand that wouldn't lock in, so if I hit it the way I hit it, it would just pivot around.
Oh no!
And you're playing the way that TV on the Radio plays, he has it angled, so it's not
right, exactly,
super crashy.
Mm-hmm.
So the second I go into the first couple songs, it's things are just flying everywhere, and I'm
oh my god.
It was actually really great though. Because it was obstacles. It was what are you going to do in a live setting when you're playing tomorrow?
Right.
If I can play on this, I can play on anything. So we ran the first couple songs without Justin, because Justin had to do his other shows.
What band was he playing with that he was?
I don't know. I want to say
one of the 1,000 bands that he's playing.
I don't think
in?
it was Retox. What's the other one that he's doing?
We'd have to
they
ask
just
him.
finished a tour and did a show. Denver, drove San Diego, and then flew out here today. So he missed last night's practice. And
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, me and Justin haven't played at all together yet.
Oh wow.
So the 3 new songs that we're gonna play tonight.
He hasn't played with you.
He hasn't played with me, and he has no idea that I can't play the Ministry song.
And he's also playing bass.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's playing very much with you.
That's rhythm section, I believe.
I believe that is what they call the rhythm section.
So yeah, that should be very interesting.
That's hilarious. Well, tell you what, man. Tell me where how the Blood Brothers formed.
All right, so you got to flash back to like 14, 13-year-old Mark, 8th grade. Put it at that mark.
What year are we talking about here?
8th grade, I would have been 94, year after Kurt Cobain died. Or
I think somewhere around there.
He died.
Let's call it mid-90s.
So yeah, I've been playing, guitar for a while. So I started playing guitar like right around 9 or something like that. And one of the few people that kind of stuck with it in my friend group. And so like me and my friends, we all had bands going, through 7th grade, I guess.
And this is sort of the suburbs of Seattle, around Seattle?
Like the east side. So there's Kirkland, Winnetka, Bothell, Redmond, Kenmore. That's where I was at. And so me and my buddy Casey, we really loved this thrash metal band called Backlash. And they weren't even a real band. I mean, they were like the high school, 12th graders or whatever that had a shitty fucking band that I just was like, whoa, dude, they're loud. And I, loved like Metallica and like metal-ish stuff like that. And like Helmet was like my favorite band.
Dude, of course. Fuck yeah. That band fucked me up big time.
Yeah, like Strap It On. It's such a good fucking record. Anyways, Blacktop, good song.
Absolutely. It's ridiculous.
So like we were into stuff like that. A little bit more like Chugga Chugga. Like I wasn't introduced to like more like Jehu or like any bands like that yet. And so like we go to see this band. Parents drop us off. We're like, it's weird they're playing daytime, like 4 o'clock or something like that. So we get dropped off at the place called the Redmond Firehouse, which was like the reason why a lot of Seattle people play music. I mean, it was just like a teen center that let us play shows, put it on ourselves. Kids would come and we would just have great shows. Jawbreaker would always come through and play, and like just a bunch of other fucking, it's like Sunny Day Real Estate and stuff like that.
Awesome.
But so like I'm going to see this band Backlash, and we get dropped off, and we get into the venue, and we realize that there's nobody there, and we look at the flyer again, it says Backwash. And when we were like, what the fuck, should we leave or stay? And then this band starts, and it was a bunch of kids our age playing just really weird, kind of noisy Sonic Youth kind of like just music. I was like, holy shit, there's kids like my age playing shows, and they're doing it right now. So as soon as I got done, I walked up to them. I was like, hey, my name is Mark. I really love what you guys did. You guys need another guitar player? Like totally dorky, whatever, like stupidness. And surprisingly, they're like, yeah, totally, that sounds great. Like, we should get together sometime. I was like, hey, I got a space at my parents' house. Why don't you guys come over and we'll practice in my garage? And they came over the next weekend. And at that point, it was Johnny, Jordan, Devin, the original guitar player of Blood Brothers, and Hannah, Jordan's twin sister.
Oh, weird.
And his twin sister was on drums. Jordan was on bass. Johnny was on singing, Devin was on guitar, and I was on guitar. So we did that for a while, and I am very hesitant to mention the name of the band, but I will. It's called Vade. And like we released our first like 7-inch record in 8th or 9th grade or something like that.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's really bad, but it's really awesome at the same time.
That's amazing.
I just found the cassette tape a couple days ago because I found a Walkman in my closet, and I was like, I wonder if this Walkman works. And I went through to find some tapes, and I found a Vade tape, and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Listen to your, how old were you at the time?
14, 15.
Listen to your 14, 15-year-old self?
Like, loving Helmet, trying to play in like some weird fucking like Sonic Youthy sounding band, which I never listened to a band that sounded like that, and trying to like fit in with like these cool kids. So they all went to a different school too. So they all went to like Kirkland Junior High, and I went to North Shore Junior High. Which,
what's the difference?
They were just a lot cooler than where I was coming from.
Really?
Yeah, way cooler. And like, they all knew cool bands and shit, and like I had nothing. Like my musical outlet was like MTV. So like I only knew MTV bands, but they knew like, Behead the Prophet and like stuff like that. Yeah, they were super into like crazy, just like metal thrash. So yeah, we started doing that for a while, and I was on guitar, and I don't know what the whole deal was. I think like maybe either Jordan didn't want to play in a band with his sister, or like Hannah wanted to phase out, or like basically I had a friend Cody, which plays in Headwind City. He was a year younger.
What is his last name again?
Vadalato.
Vadalato. I always
So a little sidetrack from that. My brother and Cody's older brother Rocky Vadalato, they played in a band together, and so this is when I'm in 6th grade and Cody's in 5th grade. So like my brother and Cody's brother start playing in bands, and I meet Cody and I'm like, hey man, you know, it's cool. Like we should play music together. So like Rocky and I kind of like show Cody some guitar stuff, and me and Cody start playing guitars together. I start playing with Vade or whatever we form. And somewhere in the mix there, I'm like, hey, you know, maybe we should bring my buddy Cody in to play guitar. And they're like, hey, well, if you want to bring Cody in to play guitar, how would you feel about playing drums? And I was like, well, I don't really know how to play drums. My brother's got a drum set. I can figure something out.
So you hadn't really played drums prior to that?
No. All I could do was a boom, boom, ka, ka, boom, boom, ka, ka, boom, boom, ka, ka.
So you learned to play drums at that point?
Learned to play drums in the Blood Brothers.
Really?
Completely self-taught.
That's fucking bizarre, dude.
And the reason, so like, basically, do you know who Jordan's sister is?
No.
Drummer of The Gossip.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, weird. This gets stranger and stranger.
It's a strange world we live in.
It truly is.
So yeah, we basically like Hannah leaves and I start playing drums. Cody comes in there. I think Johnny was on guitar. Like we had like 5 guitar players. I don't fucking know.
Jesus.
Called our band like Justice League of America, and then we quickly realized we can get sued for that.
Right.
And then we changed it. Eventually, it landed on Blood Brothers, and Devin was on guitar. Cody was on guitar. I think Johnny was kind of playing guitar and singing, and Jordan was just singing. And then Johnny kind of went to singing as well, so it was just like 2 singers. Oh, no, Cody was on bass. I forgot.
Oh, okay.
And Morgan hadn't even joined yet.
Jesus.
And we did that for a while, and then, I found Morgan. But yeah, it's a weird coincidence, man. 'Cause, I mean, like, really, if you think about it.
That's crazy.
If we would have left, like, we were like, oh, Backlash isn't playing, let's go home. I probably would not be playing music at all.
Right.
Like, I probably would have been like the other, like, a million people in my high school that picked up guitar in junior high and went on to other things. But, like, it was weird because, like, playing with those guys, like, we had no intention. Like, so we started playing music and we started like going to shows, and then that place I mentioned, the Firehouse, that was like the local teen center, they would have like a meeting every month, and they would vote on a new band to open up whatever show once a month. And like we're like, hey man, we should submit a practice tape to them. So we submitted it, and we totally got it, and we played that show. Next thing we know, all the older bands were like, hey, you guys want to, open up our show at the Velvet Elvis, like some Murdy City Devils, the Botch,
Right.
And like all these bands that we idolized were like, hey, you guys are cool little
Y'all
kids.
opened up for Botch?
Oh, many times. We did the last Botch show, but that was like when we were established. But like, as little kids, we played with Botch and Murder City so many fucking times. And like, it's great because I have all the flyers still, because fucking little pack rat, so I just kept everything. But
that is amazing.
But yeah, like, so our parents would drive us to the Velvet Elvis in downtown Seattle, or like Pioneer Square area, and they would drop us off. We would load our gear in. All the parents would go get food together, and then we'd play our show, and then they would pick us up and drive us home. We did that, for many, many years until we got our licenses, and then we somehow scraped up enough money. Like our friend Matt Bayless he had a studio that like him and somebody from Pearl Jam both ran or something like that.
Probably Stone Gossard.
I think so, yeah. And they're like, yeah, you guys should record over there. And it was cheap enough. So we went there and we tracked a record. And we're like, well, maybe we should, go on tour after we graduate. And like Jordan came into some inheritance money or something like that.
It's insane y'all are having this conversation while you're still in high school.
Yeah, this is like end of 11th grade, beginning of 12th grade. Because we finished the record end of 11th grade. And so like it's going into 12th grade. And we're like, hey, what should we do? Like, Jordan's like, hey, I'm gonna buy a van and we should go down the West Coast, and I'll try to contact a couple people. Like, I think he knew JP from just ordering records at that point.
Really?
And was like, hey man,
had y'all played with the Locusts?
We have not played with anybody.
Oh wow.
We are just Seattle high school kids.
Really?
And playing like with Botch and Murder City and like bands just in Seattle.
That's insane.
Like house parties and a couple things. And
Wow.
So we email a couple people and we do like a string of house shows down the West Coast. And I'm pretty sure all of us were in the mindset that the band was not going to go past this tour before we went on tour. By the time we got back, we were like, that was the best thing ever. We should go on another tour and write another record. So which we did. Like, we booked a tour that, the first one was down the West Coast. Next one went West Coast down to like Arizona up through Vegas.
Right.
And then we expanded to like Texas and then back. And then at that point, we recorded a second record, March on Electric Children. And when we did that record and did a full U.S. tour, I think we went out with like Orchid and Red Scare, I think is what it was. It was our first full U.S. tour. Mm-hmm. We got back from that, and there was like a weird email that got sent to Jordan, and it was like, hey, really like your stuff. We'd love to work with you. And it was from Ross Robinson. And at that point, none of us ever heard of him or knew what the fuck was going on.
For those that don't know Ross Robinson, tell what is his background?
Well, I could start with Slipknot.
Oh, really?
Limp Bizkit. Korn.
Really? All the bands that your band was not.
So that's why when we figured out who he was, we're like, yeah, what the fuck ever. But then we realized he was doing At the Drive-In's Relationship of Command.
Wow.
And
fuck, great record, yeah.
And I think Cody knew those guys somehow at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I played with those guys at the weirdest venue when I was like 15 years old. There was like 3 people there.
At the drive-in?
Yeah. At the drive-in in like a teen center in Woodinville, which is like the dumbest fucking area of the east side, which is like the dumbest area of Seattle. Many segments down. Anyways, but like, so awesome. Cody knew them and he called them and he was like, hey, how was it working with Ross?
Yeah.
And they were like, nothing but good things to say.
Really?
Besides the fact that I think Ross made Tony cry. And Ross has a fucking habit of like kicking out drummers and getting replacement drummers, like hired guns. And like, so I hear all this shit. I'm like, what?
Oh, going into it, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, I was like, well, I got nothing, man. Totally self-taught. Like, really, like, I'm pretty sure I'm just going boom, boom, kaka, boom, boom, kaka on almost every fucking song at this point. And so, like, Jordan gets that email and he just deletes it. And then Ross finally calls him or something like that. And he's like, hey, my name's Ross. I did blah, 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 blah. And, like, we're like, whoa, dude, this is, like, somewhat of a real thing. And he's like, yeah, I want to put you guys on my label. I want you guys to come down and check out a bunch of shit. And, like,
really?
We're talking about, like, just a bunch of kids that, like, just wanted to play music and, like, really had no intentions of anything. So, like, we immediately contact Matt Bayless, the guy that recorded the record, and he's like, hey, I got a manager that, you guys can contact before you ever talk to this guy. And we went down there and hung out with Ross, and he had a great vibe, and we're like, yeah, let's do a record together. And that's when we did Burn, Pale, and Burn.
Wow.
And that was an experience, man. We lived in Venice Beach for like 2 months.
What?
It was great. I finished my drum parts in like I think it was 7 days or 10 days.
Yeah.
So I was just kicking it there for like literally 2 months, just like riding a bike around. I guess I can say it now, I'm 35, but I had my brother's ID at that point. He's my older brother.
Awesome.
So I was just going into bars.
Awesome.
And like just drinking and kicking it and doing my thing. And
that is amazing.
So yeah, we did that record with Ross, and that was the game changer right there. It's like we didn't really ever expect to play music as a thing at all. That was never an intention. Like,
wow.
It was always like go to college, get a job, do your thing. And so we started doing that record and then went on tour for 10 months out of the year, like 12 years or some shit.
Really?
Like
Do you enjoy touring?
I really enjoy touring.
Do you?
I could pretty much consistently be on the road. The requirements would be comfortable place to stay.
Yeah.
Currently, I would need to have my wife and my cat.
Your cat?
Definitely my cat.
Cats don't travel so well. That seems problematic.
Don't travel well, but I need to figure out a way to make my cat travel well because I fucking love that cat.
Maybe you could drug him.
It's a her, and I could drug her, or I don't know, man. I mean, I think she'd be fine. I can get like some sort of like fucking like Baby Bjorn or something like that and strap her in.
There you go. That would be amazing.
I love that cat. I sleep on that cat's belly at night. It's like
Do
my
you?
pillow.
Really?
Yeah, she doesn't claw me at all.
I love my cat too. He's a fat bastard and he's got a little head and he's like a white fluffy like a
little
bowling
cow.
pin.
A little cow eating some food right now.
He is a fat bastard. That is amazing, man. So let's see. So then y'all I guess Blood Brothers take a break. Was that around this point where we're at right now?
No, we did a couple records. We did 2 with John Goodman, I believe.
Not the actor.
John Goodmanson?
John Goodmanson?
Is John Goodman the actor?
John Goodman is the more, I shouldn't say morbidly. He is obese.
Roseanne.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so John Goodmanson.
The Big Lebowski.
Yeah,
Walter and the Big Lebowski.
You're out of your element, Donnie.
That's right.
So he did like the Blonde Redhead records and a couple other things. And so we brought him on board for the last 2. My timeline, I don't even know how many records we actually did, but I'm pretty sure it was the last 2. Burn, Young Machetes, Crimes?
Okay.
Or Burn, Crimes, Young Machetes. Yeah, who fucking knows? Anyway, so he did those, and we brought Guy from Fugazi on to produce it.
He is one of my favorite vocalists.
Oh, he's amazing.
That is amazing that you worked with him, man.
He also lives in this area.
I know he does. I've heard.
We were thinking about visiting him tomorrow.
Oh,
He's
man.
got some babies.
Dude, take a picture with him. I want to just see the picture of the two of you.
Yeah. So, yeah, we did those 2 records with those guys, and then we went on tour, like that usual cycle of like 10 months or 12 months on the road.
Wow.
And
this is all just in a van and fucking going for it.
we were going back and forth between van and bus, and on the last couple tours we were on the bus, and it was a weird breakup because I think the breakup was confusion. We were in Vegas, and a couple people were tired of being on the road so consistently.
Sure.
And I was like, hey man, we should take a break. And I think some people heard that as like, we should stop. So we finished the tour after that, and by the time we got back on the next tour, some people had it in their mind that we were no longer a band. And at that point, we were just like, you know what? Fuck it. Nobody wants to play screamy fucking thrash punk anymore.
Right.
And we all, I mean, I was starting to do a lot more hip-hop stuff, hip-hop production. Morgan was kind of working with Fleet Foxes. And, you know, yeah, basically all of us just kind of wanted to just not do what we were doing. Even though we all really loved it, I think that it was just feeling like we were getting a little too old to be playing such thrashy stuff. I don't know.
Right.
Even though like at that, now looking back to it, it's like, no, totally not true. Like at that moment, we were just like, no, nobody wants to do this. And like, I think all of us also were just like, yeah, dude, we're fucking rad. Like we can fucking break up and do whatever the fuck we want. You know, whatever. Who fucking knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, we just like disbanded. And like, it was really weird because like we played, God, so we did a last show in Portugal. That was the last show of the European tour, and then we did one in Seattle. But the last show of Portugal, this is funny because it's the third time I've mentioned this band, Metallica. We played with Metallica, Stone Sour, Joe Satriani, Mastodon, and then 3 Portuguese hardcore bands. And we were so fucking far out of place. Like, everyone was just like, who the fuck are these guys? So we go on, like, Portuguese bands play, and they're, like, thrashing, circle pitting everywhere. And we go on, and, like, people are stoked. And I think they thought that Johnny was a female or something like that. Because we start, and, like, people are stoked, and then they realize it's a dude, and they start, like, kind of doing the, like, limp wrist thing, waving a flag. And all of a sudden, I see, like, this blow-up doll like come up and like they spread the legs and like start like kind of punching it like in a very gross way.
Punching it in the vagina.
In the vagina. I didn't want to say it, but thank you because we are recording this, so it needs to be said. But yeah, so I'm like playing. I'm like, what the fuck?
A giant blow-up doll and the crowd getting punched in the vagina
and like
Portugal.
Pointing at us. And like I think like people are throwing their car keys and shit at us. Like they're not focused on getting home. They just want to hurt us.
Really?
Yeah, swear to God.
Wow.
And like, so like this is going on. Keep in mind, this is also Johnny's birthday. It was like the last scheduled show of the tour. We knew we were breaking up as a band.
Yeah.
And this is happening. So I want to say we got like 6 songs deep.
Yeah.
And like, that's not very long with our set.
No, not at all.
And I call everybody into a huddle and I'm like, we're getting the fuck off the stage, guys. This is so dumb. And we played like one more song and then bounced.
Wow.
I think the promoters saw what was happening and were like, whatever, cool, we'll still pay you guys whatever you guys want to get paid. Like they just want, you know, that to stop.
Right.
So that was like essentially our last show. And then we went back to Seattle and then we played Capitol Hill Block Party. And we just ran through our set like the motions. And then everybody kind of just left the stage separate ways, like almost not even saying goodbye. It was really weird.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, we all reconnected very shortly after that. I don't know. It was just a weird zone. Like everybody was like, "Fuck this fucking band, we're out." But yeah, shortly after that, we was like, you know what? That was weird. Let's fucking play music again.
Well, flash forward to now, you're playing with Justin Pearson, who I originally saw on the Locust, along with Gabe, who now you were sitting in for, or whatever for this run of shows.
Fucking drum idol.
Yeah, dude. Do you was the first time you saw Locust? Was it on a Blood Brothers gig?
Blood Brothers, Erebon Radar, who is Doomsday, who's playing with us tonight.
Okay.
Lightning Bolt, Melt Banana, Get Hustle,
Uh-huh.
the Oops Tour is what it was. It was like one of the
So the Locust, Blood Brothers, Lightning Bolt, and
Get Hustle, Erebon Radar, Melt Banana.
Wow.
One other fucking band. Oh, Hella.
Oh wow, Jesus! That's all of the pinnacle of all that sort of
Like
noise
1999,
subject.
2000,
Totally.
like just
that's all the bands.
like if you want to piss off your parents, like just put that on. Like,
that's amazing.
yeah, it was called the Oops Tour. I don't know who organized it. I assume it was like a 3-1G thing.
Well, when you saw, and what's interesting, you started playing with the Blood Brothers, playing guitar, as did Gabe in the Locust, and y'all both ended up transitioning to drums within that band.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, that's fucking bizarre. So when Blood Brothers played with the Locust, was Gabe on drums at that point?
I can't remember. I think he was, though. I'm
Yeah.
almost positive, because this was like 2000. And I think when Gabe was playing, it was like 94. You said it was in the starts like 95, 96.
I don't know at which point he transitioned to drums.
I remember that actually, though, because Cattle Decapitation was also his band.
He played in that band as well. I know that I saw them. Let me think about this. I ended up in New York after Hurricane Katrina, which was 2005. I saw the Locusts in New York thereafter. So I think in 2003, I'm fairly certain that I saw them at South by Southwest, and Gabe was definitely playing drums at that point.
Yeah, by 2003, 100%.
So
I
don't
would say
know
by 2002.
Right.
The Oops Tour was probably 2000.
So he might
like,
have been on drums.
It was
at
like
that
one of
point.
the first tours that we did besides that Orchid.
Right.
I think it was the second tour after the Orchid Red Scare tour.
But were y'all like, holy shit, what the fuck is this band when y'all saw them?
Dude, I was like that when I saw Erebon Radar. I was like, holy shit, what the fuck is this? It was like all of their amps and drums were like lined in tinfoil.
Oh.
And they just had spotlights on them.
Whoa.
And they turned all of the house lights off, and they all wore shades.
Whoa.
And it sounded like a fucking air raid, just like guitars going, and drums just doing a disco beat the entire time. And then Eric just fucking doing what Eric does.
Whoa.
And Chinese Stars, Erebon Radar, Doomsday. And yeah, they're actually probably playing right about now, which we're going to go watch. And it's going to be awesome.
Let's go fucking check that out.
But yeah, that was like kind of my first introduction to Locust. I mean, like at first, like we did a couple shows with them, like Europe and stuff. And like, I was like into the idea that they were dressed in their like bug costumes. Like, playing 30-second long songs, like very fast and technical.
Yeah.
But, like, I would listen to the record and be like, whatever. This is a more live experience. I can't even really get down record-wise.
Right.
But, like, man, they were a fucking intense band. Like, when Joey started building all of his fucking modular synths and stuff.
Right.
Like, dude, that guy had a fucking wall, like, the size of this room.
Yeah.
And he was just making really cool shit. Like, I don't know. I really loved their live performance and like the idea of what they were doing.
Absolutely.
Like I said earlier, I'd never listened to hardcore punk. I fucking admire the shit out of it, but I just
your life is kind of a series of accidents.
Pretty much.
Now that we're kind of running through it, like you've not necessarily pursued anything, but consistently seem to find yourself in a position where
like the brewery,
right? And then so tell the people about that. So you're living on this island where there's.
So after the Blood Brothers, I started working at Sonic Boom Records, and me and my buddies were just slanging vinyl and talking records for a long time.
Yeah.
They closed down the shop I was working at. And I ended up getting an opportunity, I guess Jordan actually from Headwound City Blood Brothers, he worked with this company for a split second doing travel agency for touring bands. And it was our friend Christy, and he was like, hey man, I'm not doing this anymore, but this might be something you're interested in. So I called Christy and I was like, hey, let's, make this happen. And I started basically booking hotels and flights for bands like Pixies, The Kills, whatever. And great job. And I transferred that over to when me and my wife decided to move out of Seattle onto Orcas Island, which is a small island, a couple hours north, whatever. I'm not sure if we covered that. So I'm doing that on the island from my house. And, like, I don't remember which band it was, but it was one of those fucking bands that was, like, they needed to be in a certain city for a festival. And I had, like, 10 hotel rooms on hold.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey guys, I got you like this Comfort Inn. They're like, we can't stay at a Comfort Inn, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's the only place available. Do you want it? Like,
Fuck a Comfort Inn.
Yeah, they're like, we'll figure it out on our own. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I pull the holds off, and like a week later, they call me up. They're like, so we can't find anything within like 200 miles. Is that Comfort Inn available? I was like, you told me not to book that.
Oh, no.
I was like, no, I didn't hold that. And they're like, well, you got to find something. And I'm like, you know what?
Fuck this.
No, I don't. I don't need to find something. And like, it was a different band, but like, I'm sitting at the bar kicking it with some friends, and like I get a call from a band, and they're like, so our bus parking isn't situated. They're in London.
Right.
And like, our bus parking isn't situated at the hotel. Can you call the hotel and figure it out? And I'm sitting there on the phone. I'm like, are you on the bus right now? I'm like, yeah. Like, are you at the hotel? Yeah. Like, do you see that guy that's like panicking that's in the hotel, like the concierge? That's the guy you need to talk to. If I call, I'm going to call him right now and be like, hey, talk to the person on that bus over there and figure out where to park this thing. Like, it's just like, be proactive, people.
Yeah.
Like, God, figure it out. So, like, after playing in bands for many years and realizing how difficult I am, I was like, I can't fucking deal with this shit.
Yeah, I bet.
Like, so, I physically quit doing that while I was sitting in the brewery drinking a beer. And it was my friends that were running the brewery. And they're like, hey, so you're not doing the travel agency anymore. You want
a job?
You want a job? And I was like, totally. Like, I just needed a job that was like, I can go to it, I could do it, and I go home. I'm not thinking about it.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I want to think about music. I want to think about like what I'm doing personally. I don't want to think about like
consumed
other bands.
with all this other shit, bringing it home.
And I was just like, I can't fucking deal with this shit. So yeah, I started working at the brewery, and I was just like my closest buddies on the island, and yeah, they're all my age. We just make beer and screw around. It's pretty awesome.
That's amazing, dude.
And weed's legal up there, so my other closest buddies grow a bunch of legal weed in the next building over, and like we literally just trade beer for weed and fucking kick it.
You're on a fucking modern barter system. That's amazing.
The island is fully barter system.
Wow. Beer for weed, weed for beer.
And we also own a hair salon, so
wow.
my wife trades for
have
edibles.
Nice. And you have a good head of hair, so you actually have something to cut on occasion,
I get
man.
it cut quarterly.
Yeah, that is a substantial. From a man who is going bald, that is to me is a substantial head of hair.
It's like if your significant other is a chef, you're never getting home cooked meals.
Right.
Like they're never cooking for you for some fucking reason. Like, well, I cook all day at the job. Like we're getting takeout. And you're like, oh, so yeah, own a hair salon, never get my hair cut.
Nice. Holy shit, man. Well, I guess before we wrap it up, what hip hop production stuff, or is there anything you'd want to talk about that you're working on presently or going forward, or?
So I was doing Champagne for a while, which was me and 3 other guys, and that was my focus for a while. Did a handful of tours. Actually, one of the weirdest last tours we did was with Macklemore before he got big. So
weird.
We grew up with him.
Really?
Oh yeah, he's just like one of our close friends.
No way. Once again, some strange coincidental shit.
It gets weirder. So like we were going on a tour with him, and we started out like 200 capacity venues. By the end of the tour, we were playing 3,000. We got to New York, like Jay-Z and Kanye were like at the fucking show.
What?
Yeah, so like all of us were like tripping out. We're like, what's happening here? And even Ben Macklemore was just like, oh, I don't even know what's going on. Like you played in the Blood Brothers, I was like, this is not even equating to what's happening to you right now, dude. Like you're in a whole nother fucking playing field.
Yeah, I'll say.
So like, yeah, that was kind of like the Seattle under like hip hop scene that I was involved in for a long time.
Okay.
Was that, and then once he kind of became what he is, like a huge fucking like MC Hammer megastar type thing, that's when like I felt like the hip hop community started like taking a weird dive in Seattle. Like people were like, hey man, maybe we should change our style to him, or like went totally more abstract, like Shabazz Palaces or stuff like that. And the rock scene totally died. And that's when I was like, I'm fucking leaving. I'm going to Orcas Island. I'm just going to build a studio up there and do my own thing, which I started doing. And I just started writing a bunch of songs. No intention at all. Like some of them are like spaghetti Western Afrobeat songs.
Right. That's cool.
Some of them like are just like straight hip hop. Some of them are like weird flamenco guitars, like with just like weird soundscapes on top of it. And like samples from the first Blood Brothers tours that we did. Like there was this one lady, so we were on the bus in San Francisco going to Amoeba, and like our friend Zane bumped this guy, and like the dude fucking flipped out on him, and like Zane kept it cool. And when the guy got off the bus, Zane said something, and this lady from the back comes flying out. She's like, "What the fuck you say to him? I should fucking kick your ass." Like, just goes off on us. So I pulled the camera out. This was our first tour, so I brought my video camera everywhere. And I videotaped it. So I pulled the sample from that like crazy experience and put it on one of my new songs. So finished this record, and I was like, "What am I gonna call it?" I was like, fuck, I hate coming up with names. I don't want to have a solo record.
Right.
I ended up calling it African Tiger because me and a couple buddies were hanging out one night, and like we had the realization that tigers aren't from Africa.
That's right.
I was fucking mind blown. I was like, I just assumed they were in fucking Africa. And like we're like Wikipedia, Google search shit, and we're like, nope, not native to fucking Africa. And I was like, that's so perfect for me because everywhere I go, everybody just assumes I'm from India.
Well, you got the last name. You got that part of it.
So, I mean, technically I'm Indian, but my parents are from Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, weird.
We're Caribbean.
Oh, weird.
And there's a lot of Indians in the Caribbean that were brought over for the whole indentured servants, slave trade, whatever.
Right.
And all of our generations go back to Trinidad that we can trace, and then it goes to northern India, but we really don't have any connection there.
Wow, you got like the because people generally say like Caribbean Indian or West Indian, but that's especially interesting because you're actually talking about India, Caribbean Indian, which is a totally different. That's cool.
West Indian. And so like every time I don't want to sound like I'm stereotyping on this one, but like if I walk into a convenience store, a lot of times people are like, "Hey buddy, where are you from?"
And they'll
like,
start
and I'm just like, "Oh, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago," and immediately get like shut down. They're just like, "Oh, you're not Indian."
Right.
So it's like African Tiger, like
there you
being
go.
like
Boom.
the Indian not Indian was like kind of just like a perfect thing for me. So I ended up going with that. And what's even funnier is I have a song called Dot Not Feather.
Nice.
Which is great. It's that Speedy Western song.
Cool.
But yeah, so I finished the record. Wasn't sure what I was gonna do with it. And I was like, do I just put it on fucking SoundCloud and like have 5 of my friends listen to it and nothing happens? So I bought a camera and I started making videos and I got really into video production.
That's what I do.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm teaching myself After Effects.
Okay.
And like getting into that whole world. And I've made 3 videos for the first couple songs off the record, and they're awesome. Like, I mean,
cool.
The first one's based off Orcas Island and the vortex. I don't know if I mentioned that to you. There's an energy vortex somewhere off the coast of Orcas Island. It lines up with my bed. And there's a video, if you Google Orcas Island vortex, it goes to like the late 90s. There's a segment on a TV show, like a talk show, Where's Todd? And Todd goes exploring around the Northwest. And Todd goes to Orcas Island and he explores the vortex. And
there's supposed to be one in Joshua Tree as well.
I'm pretty sure if you go through the one in Orcas, you'll end up in the Joshua Tree.
A portal to Joshua
And then you'll
Tree.
end up in like fucking Sedona or whatever. But yeah, so like I came across this video that was from the 90s, and I ended up splicing it up and then putting it into this cartoon that I made. I just started making weird things like cartoons and just videos around the house.
Fucking A, man.
African Tiger.
Right on. Well, dude, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We got to get back over to the show. You're going to be playing in a little while.
Hopefully not too soon, but I think
Nah, man, you're good. You're good. I'm ready to hear it. But it was awesome talking to you about all your projects and everything. We didn't even touch on a couple of your other offshoots of the Blood Brothers. The whole Blood Brothers Locust thing is so incestuous. There's so many bands. You've been part of so many things. It's like
a lot of projects.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If you want to get incestuous, just think about Gajadhars and Vadalatos. That's just like 2 people.
Two guys.
2 last names. But like my brother and Cody's brother and then me and Cody.
Yeah.
That's basically like a family tree that just spawns out through Seattle. It's hilarious.
That's amazing. I gotta ask you one more thing then. When y'all were playing with Botch, do you know what era that was? Was that pre We Are the Romans?
All eras.
All eras.
From when Dave used to be like, wah,
yeah.
To
the
Romans.
fucking We Are the Romans.
I mean, we did the last Botch show at Showbox. And we were leaving on a tour that night, so we didn't actually get a party with them. But that was a fucking amazing show. And, I mean, Minus the Bear is great, but I wish that they would get some Botch action going back. And
Holy
I
moly.
think there was they were having a hard time tracking down Tim.
Yeah.
And I've always offered up. I was like, listen, man, I know those songs.
Fuck yeah.
I can kind of do it, kind of like I can kind of do Headwind City.
Right. Oh my God, that's amazing, man. That must have been so cool seeing those guys, and especially seeing them evolve from that record to the next one up to We Are the Romans. So the band they became when they hit We Are the Romans is like a complete juggernaut and hands down one of the most influential hardcore bands, heavy bands
right off the pad.
ever. Yeah. It's the baddest. That's the baddest shit.
Yeah, that was my jam.
Fucking A. Well, that's so cool that you got to see him, man. Thanks for sitting down and talking to me.
you.
We ended up talking even more shit than I expected, which is awesome. So cool, man. Thanks for talking to me, and stick around for your projects. I'll get you info, man.
Word.
All right, folks, that about does it for this one. Many thanks to Mark for sitting down with me. Make sure to check out African Tiger and whatever else Mark is churning out from Orcas Island, Washington. Catch y'all on the next one. Crash, bang, boom.
Blackout on these stages, once you feel it so contagious. Never nervous, probably cause I'm picturing you naked. Everything's a test, that's why I study, always ace it. Waiting for the blow, that kind of blow that leaves you faceless. Carve my name in stone and wrap myself inside a blanket. Ocean right below, they tell me time to act my ages. Think they meant my eons, don't these peons know I'm ancient? Time to walk the plank, at least the fishes know I'm famous. Blackout on the stages, 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 blackout on the stages.
The return to karma came back with a vengeance. Spit raps to the sacrilegious. Back in the mix, so ready to attack with immaculate shit. Keep a book bag full of sticky green for the team, just in case you wanna match some shit. And down for the cause. Tell your baby mama you'll be back in a bit. Might be gone for a minute, stone for a minute, but at least you came back with a hit. Feeling good with a smile on your face. I'm proud to embrace my style when you feel it. Dead or alive, spin through time when I close my eyes. I'm still coherent. I forgot my verse, I forgot my verse, I forgot my verse, I forgot my verse.